Over 1 month ago, One Direction singer Liam Payne tragically died falling from a third-floor balcony of a hotel in Argentina. Today, his friends, family and loved ones finally lay him to rest in a private funeral in the home counties of the UK. Joining me now to walk us through this is Bizzare editor from The Sun, Ellie Henman. Ellie, thank you so much for your time today. The funeral is now underway from what we know. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, it's an incredibly sombre day here. We know that earlier on today, Liam's parents, Jeff and Karen, arrived at a church in the home county to lead tribute to their son Liam. Naturally, Cheryl Tweedy, who he has his son with, is there as well. And she's been joined by her girls and our bandmates, Kimberly Walsh and Nicola Roberts were there by her side. But we saw arriving to the church this morning Liam's One Direction bandmates too. So Harry Styles was first to arrive, followed by Zayn, Louis Tomlinson and Niall Horan. Simon Cowell is also there with his wife Lauren. We also have a number of Liam's friends from the industry. So Scott Mills, who's a Radio 2 DJ. We also have Chris Clark, Sean Welby and Jordan North, who knew Liam incredibly well and interviewed him a number of times throughout his career. People from the sporting world are also there. We have Robbie Keane, Adrian Child, of course, of there to pay his respect. And it was an incredibly sombre scene this morning. I know that the press are there watching from a very respectful distance, alongside of a few people in the local area who also pay their respect. Liam arrived this morning in a hearse drawn by horses. His coffin was carried into the church by his family members. Really poignantly, on top of the coffin was a floral tribute from his son Bear that read Daddy. Oh. Now, we know that inside the service, there are going to be tributes paid to Liam's life as a person. Obviously, number one, to Jeff and Karen, he was their beloved son. Above everything, you know, we all knew him as a global superstar, but to them, he was their boy. It's an incredibly emotional service. We understand there's also a musical hymn also, and there'll be readings that are read out.
And so, Ellie, it does seem to be more of a private, smaller funeral than a big public one to, as you say, honour the life of a star, but more of a private person. But to have all four members of One Direction join the funeral, there was always a bit of questions if they were all going to be there. But what does that say about kind of the state of how those men are feeling, having grown up with Liam?
I think Liam's bandmates are absolutely bereft. I think this was the One Direction reunion that no one ever expected to happen. People, I think, especially the fans, believe that one day in the future the boys might come back together to do a tour, to maybe reunite one last time on stage. And sadly, this is the circumstance that is the reality they're now living in. We know that Zayn obviously delayed his UK tour. It was kicking off this week to make sure he was able to come today and be there alongside the other boys to support each other. I think we know from the amount of times we spoke to Liam over the years and the band as a whole, he was very much the dad of the group. Liam was the one who was always sort of leading from the front. Zayn, for example, was always very shy, and Liam would always be by his side, helping him out. You know, the lads were incredibly close. I mean, shortly before his death, when Liam was in Argentina, he was watching Niall in concert. You know, they may not be publicly seen together, but they are a very close-knit group of friends as well as bandmates.
Well, it would be hard not to after so many years of just being with each other in those formative years as teenagers and kind of early 20s. But Ellie, the funeral, as you said, taking place in one of the home counties, this is a bit of a homage to his time spent living with his former partner Cheryl and their son Bear. This is where they lived together when they were in their relationship.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people believed at the start that Liam's funeral may take place in Wolverhampton. I think it was widely speculated at the time that this is where he might be laid to rest. But actually, yes, they have chose the home county. Cheryl and Bear both live in a home there. Liam provided that for them and made a happy home for them there. And I believe what we understand from the family is that they wanted there to be able to have somewhere to go and see his father close.
Yeah.
Ultimately, keeping him there close to the house.
Is there any word if the One Direction boys are kind of staying in the home area for a little bit, whether there's a wake or just something for them to be able to spend a bit more time with Liam's close friends and family?
So we know that once this is over, that everyone who's been invited to this will be going back to the wake. It is absolutely private. It's something just for the family. and for Liam's closest friends do talk about his life, shared memories. But it's, a private affair and something that was just for his family to say goodbye.
And Ellie, is there any word on his former girlfriend, Kate Cassidy? How is she doing? Is there any reports about how she's going after obviously the tragic death of her partner? But is she in town for the funeral as well?
So what we understand from Kate is that Kate is absolutely bereft, like the rest of Liam's family and his closest friends, is still very much reeling from the fact that Liam passed away. It's just over a month ago that he died now, but it's still very fresh in their memories. It's still very raw. So Kate did arrive to the church today. She was supported by her friend Damien Hurley, who we know as Elizabeth Hurley's son. They came together and he was very much supporting her. But I think Kate is going through an incredibly difficult time. She was with Liam for a couple of years. They were very close. She was obviously with him in Argentina shortly before he passed away. And by all accounts, they were very happy. It's an incredibly difficult time for her, and I know that she'll be supporting Liam's family as much as they'll be supporting her.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Bear, I think his 7-year-old son who had placed that daddy thing on his coffin. But is there any word on how Cheryl and Bear are doing in this time?
I think Cheryl released a statement shortly after Liam's death to ask for privacy. Something Liam and Cheryl did as parents was protect Bear from the moment he was born. And that was very important, and that he would grow up out of the limelight and absolutely away from the spotlight. And I absolutely commend Cheryl and Liam for how well they've done that, and for keeping away from the public gaze. Obviously, that is what Cheryl and Liam are used to, and that's something they very much didn't want for their little boy.
And Ellie, you mentioned that there were other celebrities in attendance for the funeral, but did Liam, as you mentioned, he was such a kind of a popular guy and very well loved, especially in the media, but were there who were his kind of industry friends that would have been there today to pay respect? Did we end up seeing Nicole Scherzinger attend the funeral as well?
I know, so I don't actually think Nicole was able to come. I know also that Robbie Williams was able to attend and did send flowers to the family. This is something that obviously is a small funeral, but it was opened up to the people that knew him best, and those that haven't been able to attend have been in touch with the family and have been sending flowers and floral tribute. But in terms of people who knew Marvin Hughes and his wife Rochelle, they turned up today. They were very close to Liam. Same with Scott Mills, the radio food DJ, who knew Liam very well. They spoke a number of times over the years. Jordan North too, on Capital FM, who knew him well and spent a lot of time with him. Same with Robbie Keane. I think some people might think, why is Robbie Keane there? But Liam was a keen football fan. He was well regarded, and he knew a lot of people. I think as much as Liam lived a public life, he did have a very private life, and he had a lot of close-knit friendships and tight relationships with people in the industry. I think Simon Cowell being there as well was a huge sign of respect from Simon. Simon took the news of Liam's death incredibly badly, as you'd imagine, and was very, very upset by the news of his passing. Obviously, he cancelled the Britain's Got Talent auditions and returned to London from where they were in Blackpool to sort of take in the news. And his partner Lauren being there to support him through this, because it would be an incredibly difficult time. Obviously, when Liam passed away, there was a lot of speculation, especially fans sort of pointing the finger towards Simon and the show The X Factor was probably that is where Liam grew to fame with One Direction. That show made him what he is today and obviously gave him a step up. So I think a lot of people were pointing the finger at Simon, and a number of people online, former contestants, were very quick to throw mud at him, which I believe is incredibly unfair. I've interviewed Simon a number of times. I think he's a very kind man, very caring man. And Liam's death absolutely knocked him for six.
Ellie, just finally, what do you think Liam Payne's legacy will be?
In terms of Liam's legacy, I think if you look at him as a teenage boy on the X Factor, going up to become a global star with songs that nearly everyone knows. We all know One Direction songs, and I think they will live on forever. I also think Liam's legacy will actually be looking at how artists are treated and how artists are taken care of from the moment they're signed to when they almost step back from the industry a little bit to take a break. I feel like they're definitely the music industry is an incredibly difficult and very hard industry to be in. And I feel that people will look at Liam's death and what happened in the years leading up to his death, and hopefully it'll shine a light on managers, the record companies, to actually help more and support more when people actually need it.
Ellie Henman, Bizzare editor from The Sun, thank you so much for your time today.